Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. If you're new, my name is Emma and I post videos revolving my nursing school experience and my overall college life. Today I'm going to be doing a nursing school Q&A, and this is very long awaited because I asked you guys to send me questions quite a while ago, and I'm now just getting around to doing the video, but I've been so busy with my HESIs, head to toe, dosage calc. My anniversary was last weekend. It's now Thursday, so this is the first week where I kind of like have a little moment to relax because I don't have any exams next week, and I just finished my 2 massive exams for the semester, like my last ones. I'm just gonna go in order. I'm actually gonna answer every question because there's only 13 questions. So first question, what made you choose to be a nurse, and what requirements do you need to be accepted into nursing school? This question is kind of general. I can't answer for every nursing program, but I will answer for my nursing program. For what made me choose to be a nurse, this might sound cliche, but I just like love people and helping people and working with people. I love everything about it. I thrive off of social interaction and talking to people. I want to really have that career where I can help people in every single way possible, and I feel like nursing is the perfect career for that because nurses do everything in the hospital. And I always use this example because it's very true and it applies. But growing up, I've always been so scared at the doctor's office and any sort of healthcare, anything, like genuinely terrified since I was little. And I just know that whenever I had a really sweet nurse, like very compassionate, patient, understanding, sweet, everything nurse, it always made me feel so much more comfortable, so much better, and overall just made me realize that, oh, like maybe the doctor's office isn't that scary, you know? Like, that's always something I've experienced with nurses who are like really awesome. So I want to be able to do that for other kids, and kind of teach other kids that it doesn't always have to be bad. Like going to the hospital, go to the doctor, it's not like always an awful, scary experience, if that makes sense. So that's exactly what I want to do for kids. So if you guys don't know, I want to be a pediatric oncology nurse. So I really want to help kids going through the worst times of their life and make it a little bit more joyful, if possible, and just make them comfortable and not as miserable as cancer usually makes people. So that's why I want to be a nurse. So the next part of the question, what requirements do you need to be accepted into nursing school? So like I said, this applies to my program specifically, not every program, but my nursing program specifically. What I needed was, I believe, a 3.5 GPA or higher to be accepted. Let me actually do some research here because my program is brand new in my school. So I'm in the first class of this new program and I'm a sophomore right now. So I'm about to be halfway through, and it's a direct entry program. So basically we started our nursing school our freshman year, our very first semester. We had a nursing class. It's like intro to professional nursing. I actually did not do anything nursing related in high school. I never worked in any sort of healthcare facility. I never did anything healthcare related in high school. Nursing school was the very first exposure I've had to anything healthcare. I will say that it is not required to have healthcare experience before starting nursing school. It can't hurt, of course, and it might increase your chances of getting into the program that you want to get into, but it is not required. So my school is test optional, including the nursing program at my school is test optional. So I did not have to take the SAT, didn't have to take the ACT, I didn't have to take any specialized exams to get into the program. And we also didn't have to take the TEAS exams. So I know a lot of nursing schools, probably in fact most nursing schools, do require the TEAS exam to be entered into the program. And if you don't know what the TEAS exam is, it's basically like an entry exam. So it's like it tests you on like all the basic like science, math, I think, things that you might need like as a baseline for nursing school. If you are gonna do a program that's not direct entry, where you enter your second year or your third year, you are going to have to take anatomy and physiology, microbiology, probably chemistry, depending on your program. And I had to take all of those, and psychology as well, nutrition. Those are all the prereqs I have under my belt, but I did start those like while I was doing nursing. So like I said before, my program started our freshman year, but it is different for every program. But those are the classes that you probably most likely will need before starting your nursing program. I hope that helped. I kind of like jumped all over the place with that one, but I think I got to the point with that question. I just made some coffee. I think it's ready, so I'm gonna go get that. Got my coffee. So next question, how long did you study for the TEAS and HESI exam, and what resources did you use? So like I just mentioned, I did not have to take the TEAS to get into my program, so that I did not study for, so I can't answer that part of the question. But the HESIs, I do take every single semester starting this semester, and I took my first 3 a couple weeks ago. If I'm not wrong, if your program uses Evolve, the like Elsevier, Evolve, SurePath resource, website, software, whatever, chances are you're going to be taking the HESIs. I kind of study differently for each class, but in general, I just did so many practice self-study EAQs on Evolve, like so many. And I selected like each chapter that we learned so far and more, because I knew that there would be stuff that we hadn't learned yet on the HESI. So I kind of just covered pretty much the entire textbook. And throughout the semester, I did take notes on pretty much every lecture. So what I did with the practice EAQs is I took the rationales from the EAQs and I added those to my notes. That helped me so much. And I added the rationales in a different color, so I knew what was extra information and what was just from like the lecture and the textbook. And some like supplemental things is I watched a lot of simple nursing videos, because the nurse Mike, he has amazing memory mnemonics, amazing memory tricks that I highly, highly recommend, because they are so helpful. And they're so simple to a point where it makes it almost easier to understand. And I just highly, highly recommend those. Could not recommend them enough. Like I said, did lots of practice EAQs. I would say that's the majority of what I did to study for the HESIs. Practice EAQs, that's like your biggest thing, honestly. And under the practice EAQs, there's actually a section for like HESI concepts. I don't know if you guys knew about that. I didn't know about that until a couple weeks ago. And there's stuff for everything. There's like developmental, teaching, like nursing process, so much stuff. So definitely recommend those as well. So that's how I studied for the HESI exams for the semester, and I did pass 2 of the 3. So my next question is, in the Philippines we have a thing called TDEM, wherein it's graded practicals every week. Do you have this? I don't know if this is kind of like clinical, because I do have clinical every week, and we are graded on our like performance and engagement. For your finals in nursing, do you have graded practical in which you bring your own patient, and depending on the teacher that you're assigned, to perform the procedure in a timer in a given situation? So I do know a lot of programs do this. I don't believe mine does. At least we have not done this so far. That doesn't mean we won't. We did have our head to toe check off on Monday this week, and we were able to bring in anyone we wanted. I just did my partner that I had in my lab for health assessment, but you were able to bring in anyone you want. So that's kind of similar. And we were timed, and we only had 20 minutes to do it. So that's very similar to what I think this person's talking about. I wouldn't say we have graded practicals every week, unless that's kind of like clinical. Because if it is like clinical, then yes, we do have those every week. But yeah, the head to toe is kind of like our final like check off for health assessment. Throughout the semester, we learned every system of the body like 1 week at a time. So that was like our final check off to like get us like through the class. That's pretty much my answer. I think that those two things are very similar. The graded practicals are like clinicals, and the check off is like the where you bring your own patient and like you're timed and you have to do something. Like, I think that's very similar. Any ideas in what specialty you would want to go into? Any thoughts on becoming a nurse practitioner? So I have mentioned this a few times, but I do want to be a pediatric oncology nurse. In order to do that, you need to be a certified pediatric nurse and a certified pediatric hematology oncology nurse. So that's exactly what I want to do. And I wanted to do that for a long time, for as long as I can remember, because I love kids, and cancer is something that I'm super passionate about because I have a close relationship with it because of family history. And I just find cancer extremely fascinating to study. And in the past, I have thought about becoming a nurse researcher, doing something with like cancer research. That's something I'm super interested in, and I'm considering that in the future. And for the NP part of the question, I do want to become a nurse practitioner either in women's health or pediatrics. And I am thinking about doing like a research as a part of that, maybe like on the side, like part-time NP, part-time researcher. I don't know, we'll have to see, but I am really interested in cancer research. Our next question is, where is your ideal work setting? I like this question. So hospital, doctor's office, clinic, treatment center, home health, etc. So right off the bat, when I graduate, I want to work at the bedside in a hospital for at least 2 years, maybe longer depending on how long I can maintain that. But I do want to work in the hospital, and I know what hospital I want to work at too, what unit, everything. So that's my goal, that's my plan. Once I go back to get my NP, I'm thinking of maybe working in a clinic. There's so many options for different clinics in my area, so I have lots of options, which I'm very fortunate about. So at first, I know I want to work in the hospital, and then probably maybe even like an outpatient center while I'm in NP school, something. I have no idea, we're gonna find out. But I think like my solid answer for that is the hospital. Next question is, when did you decide that you wanted to become a nurse, and what was your dream job as a kid? So growing up, I actually did not want to be a nurse. I was never into the idea. My mom was always pushing it, and I was like, no, like I don't want to do that. But then I knew I wanted to go into something medical, something healthcare related. But when I was in middle school, before I had the knowledge, I wanted to become a marine biologist. Nothing against marine biologists. I think that's the coolest thing ever. That's what I wanted to do, solid. Like I was set on that for a long time. Once I started high school, I started to kind of like get into the healthcare scene, doing lots of research because I'm a big researcher. Like if I'm interested in something, I'm gonna be researching it, like just because. My dream job as a kid was a marine biologist. I believe I was a junior in high school when I decided that I wanted to become a nurse. Something that influenced that for sure is my aunt, who's a nurse practitioner, and my cousin is a PA. And I talked with them so much about healthcare and what they do. And when I was just listening to them talk and describe like what they do for a living, I was like, wow, like that is what I want to do. Like that sounds exactly like what I want to do. I can just like remember the exact moment I knew I wanted to become a nurse. I was at my grandparents' house listening to my cousin talk about like his like work and like what he did, and I was like, dang, like that is amazing. Like sign me up. And for a while I considered going into med school. Because I still think about it sometimes, like every now and then I'm like, I wonder what it would be like if I decided to go to med school. But I don't know. Because something I like about like med school stuff is like the research you do and the amount of detail like in which you study. So like studying like the pathophysiology of diseases, you do that in nursing school, but in med school I know you do it to a whole different level because you need to know how to diagnose. And same with NP. So I'm going to be learning a little bit more about patho and NP, so I'm excited about that. But I just love studying the disease process. Kind of makes me a nerd maybe, but I just am so fascinated in that stuff. So that is something that has also driven me to become a nurse, is that like the disease process, stuff like that, because we do learn a lot about that in nursing school. So yeah, I just love science. I cannot see myself in any other field other than healthcare. I really can't. I just know for a fact that healthcare is like where I'm meant to be. I hope that answered the question. I kind of went everywhere in that question, but hopefully it made sense. Also, thank you guys so much for these questions. I really appreciate it, and I actually enjoyed all these questions. Like, I love how like thorough they are. The next question, I like this one a lot. Have you always had this much willpower and drive about you? How do you overcome distractions? You are such an inspiration to me, and I want to be you when I grow up, and you're much younger than me. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you. That's really sweet. Long story short is no, I have not always had this much willpower and drive, like at all. Actually, I will admit, in high school I was not the best student, believe it or not. Like I did my work, I did what I had to do. I just was not driven in high school. I really wasn't. And I did not get the greatest of grades. I did graduate with an advanced diploma, and I did get 4 academic pins for my academic letter. Somehow, I don't know. I graduated with a lot of things. Yet, I just feel like I could have done so much better in high school, but look where I am now. I'm in nursing school. So that just shows that you don't have to be a top-notch 4.0 student to get into nursing school. I don't know if I've told you guys this. It's kind of something I was like not talking about a lot at first because it's like kind of, I feel a little weird about talking about it. But when I first applied to nursing school, I did not get in. I got waitlisted. And that, when I tell you, that crushed my soul, that discouraged me so much. So much. I almost gave up. I almost decided to do something else. I wanted to go into counseling like my mom does, or nutrition, something to do with something that's not nursing. I will never, ever, ever forget the moment I saw that acceptance letter in the summer. It was my move-in day, my freshman year of college. And I checked my email. I got an email like a month before that I didn't open. And I'll never forget that. It said like, we opened up another spot and we want to offer you admission into the direct entry BSN program. When I tell you that, oh my God, best day ever. I think that's the best news I've had in my entire life. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, that was the moment I became, like, that was like the beginning of an era, seriously. And I just remember once I started college, something clicked and I became so incredibly driven, so hardworking. I have never worked this hard for anything in my life other than nursing school. I've never worked this hard for anything in my entire life. Nursing school is something that I've worked endlessly for. And I think the reason for that is because I almost didn't get in. So the fact that they opened up a couple more spots and I happened to get one of them, that taught me like, okay, Emma, you almost didn't make it here. You have to fight to stay here. So that's exactly why I have so much drive and so much willpower, because I almost didn't make it here. So I gotta keep my spot. I gotta do everything I can to stay here. So that's exactly why I'm always at the library, always studying, always working day in, day out, because I genuinely want to. I love nursing. I love everything about it. So I think like the whole thing with almost not getting in, it kind of taught me like you can't just get by on half-assing everything. It's all or nothing. And then she also asked, how do you overcome distractions? So something I do is I always, like whenever I feel like I'm distracted, I move somewhere else. I go somewhere else, or I take a break. Because if I'm trying to study and I'm distracted, I'm not gonna get anything done. So I'll take a break, or I'll move to a different scene. I'll go change the setting. That's why I always go to the library, because there's no distractions. There's none of my personal belongings. There's nothing, like no couch I can sit on. There's no TV to watch. So I can kind of just stay focused the entire time I'm there. And that's why I go there all the time. And my phone, I always feel guilty when I'm on my phone for a long time, because I'm always like, oh, like screen time, gotta keep it as low as possible, because, you know, I don't want to be a screenager. My posture, this hunched over like this on my phone all the time, awful for your back. It hurts. I feel it after a while. So that's why, like, when I'm studying and I pick up my phone, I'm like, nope, I'm gonna put it down. You have to get this done. I do work on the weekends. I work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I work 18 hours a week during the school semester. So my mindset is kind of like on my planner, I'll plan out everything, and then I will make sure to get the bulk of my work done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so I can not have as much to do after work on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm like, okay, Emma, like, you know that you're gonna have work this weekend. You're gonna be tired when you get out of work. You're not gonna wanna do so much stuff. You don't wanna study for hours after work. So let's get it all done Monday through Thursday. And I do still do some studying on the weekends after work because I have to, but that's kind of my thing. It's like, I know I'm gonna be tired, I know myself, and after work, sometimes I just wanna chill. So that's why I get everything done during the week. Okay, next question. Are there any specialties that you know you don't want to do? I like this question too. So there are certain specialties I know I don't want to do, and that includes gerontology, because it genuinely makes me sad. Like, when I was at the nursing home for my clinicals, like, I felt every emotion every single time I was there. I was like thrilled and so happy to talk to these people, but then just so devastated thinking about like just like the personal aspect of it, because they're people and they have lives and families that may or may not visit them. It's just like, I just can't see myself working in that specialty. So all the best, all the praise to those who do. I can't see myself working in the ER. Knowing me, I'm not the greatest under pressure. Sometimes I am, but I also have fainting problems. So I just don't think that's the best place for me to be. Wound care, I can't see myself in wound care. Med surge for adults, I don't think I would want to work in med surge for adults. I just can't see myself doing that, and that's what I had for my clinicals this semester in the hospital. It was fine. I want to work in a more specialized environment for specific diseases like cancer. Okay, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with those answers. Wound care, gerontology, adults med surge. Also, ICU. I don't think I want to work in the ICU. That might change, but I just can't see myself in ICU. Next question, I like this one a lot. What is the most exciting part of nursing for you? And how do you feel about the negativity surrounding nursing, such as people complaining about either hours or treatment? So the most exciting part about nursing for me is making a difference. I've been told by so many people, so many even patients, and my nursing staff that I work with, everyone, so many people, customers at work, at Trader Joe's, have told me like, Emma, you're gonna be a great nurse. Because they always say that because of the way I talk about nursing and the way I light up when I talk about nursing, apparently. And just the fact that I genuinely get excited to help people. When I make a difference in someone's life, no matter how small, it means the world to me. In my opinion, the small wins you have at clinical, the gratitude that people show you, like when patients say, like, thank you so much, you're gonna be a great nurse, like, that means so much more than any exam score to me. Like, that's worth 1,000,000 exam scores. So that's just something that I thrive off of, is the gratitude. And like, just all the opportunities that I've been given as a student nurse have been insane. Like, all the volunteer opportunities, I always say yes. I always say yes because I want to make the most of my nursing school experience, and I want to get the most out of my program, because there are so many resources, so many resources that I just have to take advantage of, because I'm like, this is amazing. Like, this is what high school me would love. This is what would have driven me in high school, knowing that I get to do all of this fun stuff. Working with people, making relationships with coworkers, with healthcare professionals. The nursing staff that I've worked with at my program, at my school, have been incredible, so helpful, and I just love nursing. Like, everything about it, all the opportunities. There's so many opportunities for nurses and for nursing students, and it just makes me so excited for the future. And I just know that this is exactly where I want to be. And the studying, the lectures, the exams, that's nowhere near as important as clinicals, and working with people, treating patients, and those patient interactions you have are so important. They're going to remember you for the rest of their life. They're at their most vulnerable state as a patient, and they're going to need you to be a human, someone they can talk to, someone they can trust. So that's exactly what I want to do for many patients. So going to clinical is just something I look forward to so much, because I love working with people. I love applying what we're learning to real life situations. It's so valuable for my learning, so valuable. So I just absolutely adore clinical. I love people. I love nursing. So in terms of how I feel about the negativity, it's easier said than done, but I always ignore it. Always. Whenever I see social media stuff like this is why you should quit nursing school. This is why nurses are burnt out. This is blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why? Like, why is this always showing up on my feed? So I always turn it off. I always say like not interested, or I always like try to get it off my feed. Not everyone has the same experience. That is very important to remember. Not everyone's gonna have the same experience. And in my opinion, your mindset makes a massive difference. And that's why I'm so positive and passionate about nursing, is because I want to be here. I want to be a nurse. This is exactly what I want to do. I'm not gonna let negativity from other people change my mind and bring me down, because this is what I want to do, and I know that for a fact. So, and for people complaining about either hours or treatment, I can definitely see why that's a problem. I have seen that firsthand in the hospital and the nursing home, in terms of like the nurses being treated poorly, and that does make me very upset. That makes me angry, because nurses do so much. Nurses do everything, and I never understood that until I started nursing school, and I was like, holy crap, like the nurse does nearly 95% of the treatment of the patient. And the nurse carries out the prescriptions, like the orders for the IVs, the medicines, everything, the nurse will carry it out. So I'm like, nurses are the bomb. So if doctors are treating nurses poorly, which I know that does happen, especially in like neurosurgery units. I've heard that firsthand from people who have worked in that unit. That makes me very upset. And I'm not gonna sit here and like minimize their experience, because I know it does happen and that makes me very angry, and I feel for them, seriously, because I know if I were to be treated poorly from a doctor, like just because I'm a nurse, that would set me off. So I know that like when I become a nurse, I'm gonna build rapport with like the doctors and the staff, just so there's like a relationship there from the get-go, and see if I can prevent the poor treatment. We'll see, I don't know. Okay, my last question is, how are the professors in the program? So this is gonna be different, obviously, based on not just program, but also professor. No two professors are the same. Luckily, I've had amazing experiences with my professors. I've not had a single bad professor in my nursing program, and I'm very fortunate about that, because I know that not every professor is great, and they're all people I can talk to, people who are understanding. So I think something that makes a huge difference is making a relationship with your professor from day one. So that's something I highly recommend. Send them an email or say something to them in person, like your first day, saying like, hello, like my name is XYZ. I'm really looking forward to working with you and cannot wait to, like, you know, can't wait to learn from you, can't wait to go through this class together, and blah, blah, blah. So something I highly recommend is that, because you want to build a relationship from the first day for many reasons. So reason one for this is because if you are in need of something, if you have like a situation where you can't turn something in, where you can't make class, can't take an exam, they will most likely be more understanding, because they know who you are and they know that you are respectful and you are there to learn. They're going to be so much more likely to be understanding if they know who you are, and if you build that relationship with them. Reason two is because if you ever need a letter of recommendation, they're gonna know who you are, and they're gonna remember that email you sent them or that conversation you had with them, and they're gonna say yes, because they know who you are. If you've never talked to them, if you never talked to your professor, never made the effort to make a relationship with them, and you ask for a letter of recommendation, why would they say yes if they don't know you? So that's something I always do. I always make a relationship with my professors like the very first day. And I'll always like introduce myself. I'll always, you know, make a conversation with them, because they're gonna remember it. And so I've had a great relationship with my professors this semester, and they've all told me like how much like they appreciate me, how much of a like good student I am, and that just means so much to hear. Like that means more than any exam score. So yeah, professors, like, they're not the bad guys. I really enjoy making a relationship with my instructors, my professors. They're really great people. My answers to this question, so, you know, like, how are the professors? That is gonna depend on who you are to them, if that makes sense. So that is all my questions that I got. So thank you guys so much. I really hope this kind of like answered all your questions, and I hope that they made sense, because sometimes when I'm like doing stuff like this, I kind of jump every which way when I'm answering questions, but hopefully you guys got your answers that you were looking for. So thank you guys so much for watching another video, and I hope that this was worth the wait. I'm sorry I did make you guys wait for a while. So again, thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time.